Is this required?
Yes.
What is?
Annually it is, yes.
Okay, we are now live. Would you like to open up the meeting or welcome to?
Okay, we'll just call this meeting to order. This is July the, 15th? And it is 10 o'clock a.m. The purpose of the meeting is to review disclosures from various people who serve on various town committees, including the mayor and council. And I'll just start off by saying, as a property owner in town, that we appreciate all the volunteers and that type of thing that do serve the town and the town employees and everyone else, but in particular the volunteers, and they do have to submit their what we call financial disclosures, and that's so we can review, and it's an opportunity for people to be upfront if they own stock in a particular thing, a piece of property, this type of thing in town, so that there's no question down the road if there's any, if there should be any problems. So I was going to actually take note of this. There's an actual Berlin ordinance, and that does set forth this requirement that we do this on an annual basis. I'm not going to read through this, but it's certainly online with the town ordinances, where you can stop uptown and see Kelsey, and I'm certain she would be glad to help you out with this. So with that said, I guess the first order of business would be to approve the minutes from September the 11th, 2020, when we had a special meeting, I guess. And so that's been presented here. This is Mr. Bill Burke, by the way, a member of the committee, and I'm Milt Warren. And then Jeff Fleetwood's town manager, and Kelsey's his assistant. So that's who's here at this meeting. So these minutes have been handed out previously. I don't see any need to read them. If you want to, there's a couple of us, we'll just unanimously approve it.
Yeah, I move to accept the minutes.
Okay, right. And so it's anonymous on that. So we have that. And then I'm going to guess what we should do next is, I guess, review the disclosures.
Sounds good. We can go ahead and just start with the simplest ones first. We have our department heads complete them each year. They're very simple. They just mark off whether or not they've received any gifts. So that is, those will be your first ones. And if you guys just pass them around, we'll grab them.
Bill, what I'll do is split these up with you, and then we'd like swap them back again.
Yeah, if you want to put your initials at the top once you've looked it over, that way we know they've all been reviewed.
At the top?
Yep.
Yeah, just top corner, I guess.
I know there's only two of you, but just don't want one to get missed.
There's no name on this one. I can't read the signature. I'm not quite sure who that is.
That is Arnold Downing.
Yes.
Chief Downing.
Downing.
Should we note that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that, yeah. There's nothing wrong with
Chief Downing.
printing his name.
I put it below the line, so.
When they're done, if you don't mind.
Oh,
Stand in front of the camera. Thank you.
well. Welcome. I'm sure Mr. Milt will be so kind when he's done, he will hand them to me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
When he's done.
I'll just pass it on down your way.
I just asked if you could
Thank
grab
you.
them so I don't have to like stand in
Right,
front of the
yeah,
camera.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, and then I'll make sure both initials are on all of those. Next, we will do the boards and commissions. If you want to kind of try to split these up as well. They're not in order, in any sort of order, they're just all the boards and commissions. And as I've mentioned in past years, I try to get everyone to complete them. I send numerous emails, I'll mail them to their home if I haven't received one back, but not everybody sends them in, so I do the best I can with that, but certain boards and commissions don't meet regularly, so to get, it's not like I could bring them in to a meeting or something, so I might not have every person's.
I'm guessing, you probably, in order to follow along with it, you probably do need to remind them.
Yes, I do several times, unfortunately. I think maybe in future years, as they meet, I will just give them to the staff liaison to take to the meeting, but like I said, some groups do not meet regularly, so this will be a little trickier.
Here's a role that does not have the name.
We can figure it out.
Yeah, it's
Robert Palladino. He's on the HTC.
I'm going to go ahead and initial it, since it does have a signature. It probably should be Dozie as well.
I'll note it in the minutes, Mr. Palladino did not.
People get in a hurry. And then you've also noted here that Linda Bowen
Yes,
had trouble completing the form. She will sign when we open for the public.
and we are open to the public, but she has not come in, so. She did call, so she has not received any gifts, and she, just had trouble accessing it. I told her she was welcome to stop in, and she said she would, but has not happened still.
Not a non-sticker, it's just, when you
I know, it's a little funky.
ooze.
Yeah, I'm not sure of a better way to handle them.
Well, you know what you can do.
Right.
Email, mail.
I'm just glad that both of you were able to do this.
Yes, thank you.
No, it's an honor to serve the town and you guys, work with you guys and everything.
Well, it'd be a bigger honor if you'd, we'll go off record later.
There's no name on this one.
Yeah, that one,
Is that the one that's, there's a signature on the bottom, on the back, I'm sorry, on the second
There's
page.
no signature.
Yeah, it's on the second page.
Oh,
it's Mr. Palladino.
And we've noted that.
He is on Historic District Commission.
Yeah.
He just did not print his name.
Signatures there, but not his.
yeah.
It's great, so many new people, a lot of these names I don't recognize. I remember the time I could go uptown in Berlin and my mother knew what I was doing before I got back home.
Back when you had horses, right?
Actually, we used to ride ponies through town all the time. And my brother came along, he rode many bikes.
I can remember those days. Both.
Yeah. Laurel was probably the same way.
Well, I'm talking, yeah, Laurel was, but my grandparents were in Georgetown. And I can remember many times going from my grandfather's farm into Georgetown on a mini bike. Illegal as the day was long, but today, but you did it.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't know that as a kid.
Did you note down here, there was some gift cards given back and forth, I just wanted to point it out. No problem, they're marked down here, but,
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was Mike Wiley.
yeah.
Yeah, he did call me, he wanted to be sure
Yeah,
that he
that-
noted it
Just
on there,
as
but,
long as you, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a legitimate thing, yeah.
yeah.
And I initialed it, yeah.
Yeah, he said it was not necessarily related to his boards and commissions, it was more along the lines of his volunteering
Sure.
for the
It is- he-
ambassadors.
He was a volunteer.
Yes,
yeah.
yep. But he wanted to be sure he wasn't in violation of anything by
He
noting it,
wasn't,
so. These are the American councils, I've split them 3 and 3, so those
Yes.
are the longer ones that may take a little more time, so.
Just, just for the record too, just to point out that, because these are disclosed once a year, really doesn't preclude someone later, if you're involved in a business transaction or something you feel is not, please come to this commission and
Yeah.
get prior approval. We don't want anything showing up.
Yeah.
These things that we're doing are kind of like after the fact, if you will.
Yeah, but if there is ever any question on if someone's unsure if they should partake in say someone volunteers at Atlantic General Hospital and then there's a matter about Atlantic General Hospital, they can always come to the Ethics Commission and ask if that's something that they should be involved in.
I was thinking as well, some of the local businesses
Yes,
that do business with the town.
right.
Just put it down. Or call.
I think you do good work.
Oh, thanks. There's not very many here. Feels light this year. I think I'm gonna start, like I said, giving them to, I'll hand them to Mary, just in case these Parks Commission and have them stay after.
Yeah, that'd be a good
That
idea.
way, I mean, I've done that in the past when I can't get someone and I know I can't.
I think it's easier for you to get the staff liaison,
Yeah. I think that's what I'm.
put the
gonna
others
start
on that person.
Yep. These are your people, make sure you're on the board.
We're just giving these.
Take your time.
So I had an interesting question this morning, nothing to do with this, but I had a person ask me, and I've never had to do this before in my head, but they asked the question, if I have a dependent child who is a full-time college student, under age 26, and they get married, what happens to their health insurance?
Can you read this out for me? I can't see it anymore.
Getting married?
No, I'm asking, is it?
He's a member board of directors,
I don't know.
non-salaried.
Yeah.
So-
You know, I
Outreach
assume that they can
committee.
still
Not sure.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah. and then
So
economic
what
development.
I did a little bit of quick research, I mean, just Google it.
Removal from any vote, mayor
And
council.
you've got, it's all
meeting
over
with
the
Larry.
Richter scale, obviously, it's depending on how the
What he's saying
plans
is
are.
he's not gonna
But
vote
there
on
are
something.
provisions
That
where the
could
person
advertise,
can
and then
remain.
you got some
I've called
hotel
Chris.
agreements and
Well, it's the
that.
same
Yeah.
situation.
Take it as a business entity, like,
Right.
they got a fund in this building, and I didn't want to come back and bite me later.
And your child
Yeah.
is young, and your child has a child.
I have
they're
lost,
still on your
most of my
insurance.
eyesight.
And what happens with the grandchild essentially, and,
I think it would be a no.
I was told it was a no, so that's why I was not sure, how it would work with like another dependent. I mean, obviously the spouse would be able to be added, but I just don't know if
Well, I know with my insurance, TRICARE, the answer is no, with that scenario that I just gave you.
did you reach out to Chris? I saw his
Yeah,
email.
yeah, I emailed him, texted him this morning. I've never had that thrown at me before.
Yeah. Is that happening with an employee?
No, I told you, it was actually somebody in town, one of the business
Oh, okay.
owners. Wanted to know if I knew from their insurance. I said, well, I don't have any idea how your plan's written. But I just thought it was an interesting question.
Are you retired military?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What would you serve?
Only one branch.
You're talking to a Marine, so.
There's only one branch.
Marine Corps? Watch out now.
Let's see, let's talk about senior, it's the senior service.
Is that Army?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My granddaughter's going in the Air Force. She's already in, but she hasn't been
Right.
assigned her thing yet, so she's going to Dover once a month. Some kind of analytics thing she's.
What
going
years
to.
were you in the Marine Corps?
68 to 71. I just got recruited into this Marine Corps detachment late down in Ocean City.
It's fun to be
They're
around,
good.
sure.
Oh, yeah, they're a good bunch.
I was telling, you know Don Coffin from Salisbury?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, the guy, he's moved down this way now.
Yeah, he lives somewhere around here. Yeah,
You know,
he's in it.
Well, he's in it, and
Yeah.
he's a retired Marine.
Yeah.
And he and I got talking, I hadn't seen him in 20 years. Last time I saw him when he was doing that big push in Wycomico County for that tax cap.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Oh, I didn't even know he was in
man.
that, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, he was the stalwart behind that, but
Huh.
we got talking the other day, and he said, I had no desire, no intentions at all of becoming a Marine. And he said when he went in, I think he went in to join the Air Force, and they told him this was, back in the late 60s, early 70s, and they told him that he didn't qualify. He said he'd walk out of the Air Force recruiter office in Salisbury at the old post office, and this great big Marine walked out and says, why don't you come here and talk to me? He says, I don't want to be a Marine. And he said, lo and behold, here I was in Paris Island, and the rest is history.
Well, I refer to him as a general in meetings. I said, General Coffin like this, I think we could have some kind of field thing, Okay, I've got an issue with one here. Yeah.
This stock, the mayor has stock in the companies, but it's listed here, but they have no relation to local companies.
He's just putting it down to be sure, I guess.
Yeah.
I've got one here that is not Xed off if this person holds interest in during reporting period.
I see that.
I'm not quite sure. With everything else Xed, I wonder what the question would be, why you would not X that.
We'll have to reach out to that person.
Are we able to try to call them now? I don't know their work schedule, but.
Good.
Let me call.
We'll go on and look at these other ones.
I'll step out of the room.
Okay.
Yeah, just read it to her and see.
That's as far as I went. There may be other,
Okay.
in fact, if you want to look down.
Yeah, I'll say I can keep that one, I think.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So that one.
Hey, Shanika, good morning. Good. Hey, I'm sitting here with the Ethics Commission. We're doing our our FY20 financial disclosure review, if you will. And I've got a question looking at yours, and I know you can't visualize this, but page 2 of the packet, the question reads, I held interest during reporting period in real property located in or outside of the town of Berlin. And you left it blank?
Yes, sir.
Well, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute, we'll put you on speaker. So go ahead, and what is your concern again?
So the question is, when I hold interest, do I own the property, and more am I interested in purchasing the property?
Is if you own property, a portion of
If
it.
If I own property in the town of Berlin?
Yes.
Okay, so we do own the property that we live in the town of Berlin
Okay. Well,
in
that's,
2020.
okay, that's it.
Mark that as a yes.
As a yes, now go to Schedule
Per phone, yeah.
per phone, and then Schedule A says, and it's your address, that's right, so we're good.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Shanika.
You're welcome, bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm just making sure that we're not, there's.
Everybody's interested in buying property in town, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the price of things.
Right, I think the rest of the is fine if you want to continue reviewing.
Tell you what, I had a couple of very good Marine friends over at 8th and I. When I was stationed in Arlington, Virginia, I got to know a bunch of the guys over at 8th and I, and I'll tell you what,
Those guys are straight.
yeah,
If you get 8 and I, you're,
yeah. In fact, I just went over to 8th and I about a month ago. You ever been over for one of those tattoos that they have?
no.
Oh my God. Impressive. I know, I got that bruise. Pretty bad one.
Thank you.
You looked at Troy's,
Yeah.
here it has a member of your family, Schedule G.
Look at that.
I don't see any explanation for that. Who is employed? Or am I missing it?
Check. But it says no.
Earl Shives.
What's his name?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I took that one.
You're
I was
right.
like, oh my God.
I know, you said yes,
Right,
that's
there you
right.
go.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Here it has O-G-H-I, okay.
Yeah.
That's,
Based on primary consideration. There would be.
and where he has, let me know also.
And we have a crab feast at the Legion, Nation City today, this afternoon.
Oh, is that right?
It's the, Legion conventions in town. And of course, Marines have around a couple tables, so everybody can sit together.
All tell lies. Tell you, I got a lot of fond memories.
Yeah.
captain, and I remember we had a deputy commander of the regiment. He was a lieutenant colonel at the time. He wasn't 5'10" maybe. The most decorated man, most decorated military guy I ever saw. I mean, he was the real deal. And I remember he, from a tactical perspective, tactical training, he had a belief, and he wasn't wrong. He felt very strongly that when soldiers were sent out for training, he wanted it to be meaningful and had meat to it training. In other words, he wanted you worn out in a discussion. And he was hard. I mean, he was a good guy to work for. I mean, I'd have gone around the world for him. But I remember this one gyration, as I call it. Seven infantry rifle companies in this regiment, and each company would deploy for 2 weeks at a time. And he had everyone went through the same objectives and training and all this good stuff. And so I was like number 6 in the rotation. So when the first company deployed, when they got back, I'd get with my peer, the company commander, I'd say, what do you know what? He goes, man, he says, everything was straightforward. The last thing that we did, he said, man, you talk about killing you. Oh my God, he just told me all this stuff, and I was like, oh boy, wow. So the next company would deploy, and they'd come back, and I'd go to my peer again. We were all friends, I mean, you get the same answer. I was like, oh God, oh God. So we deploy. And, 9 out of the 10 things that you did, they were pretty straightforward. And then, the last thing, the one that was going to wear you out, put you over the edge, was getting ready to happen. And I remember this lieutenant colonel, he said, he got me in, he said, here's your objective, here's your mission. What I'm going to give you now, you have 3 hours to utilize this helicopter and that pilot to do an aerial recon. It was a raid that we were going to do. And he said, you're allowed to take no more than 2 people with you on this reconnaissance. So I took my XO and my first sergeant. So we go over to the, I like to do everything from square one all the way through. So we met the helicopter pilot, and I said, take us to the pickup zone for this evening. That's where I want to start. And then we'll do the aerial recon from there to the objective. So we're in this helicopter. We lift it up, and XO and First Sergeant and I all had our headphones on. You got a little button up there you can turn where it's only you 3 talking versus the pilot. So we get up in the air.
8 o'clock headsets.
Yep. Well, the helicopter banked, and the sun was out, and I'm just sitting here at the window, just looking like this. Anyway, I reach up and hit the button. I said, hey, Lieutenant Gardner, you see what I saw? No, sir, I don't see what you're talking about. Pilot, go back and land. Face the exact same direction we were in. All right, go back off the same way you left. I said, flip back. I said, look out that window. Well, the terrain from where you were going to get dropped off to the objective was this.
Right.
Water, right? We were very fortunate. The time of the day was the key thing.
So you always plan at same time of day.
That's right.
Yeah.
And when that thing banked, for some reason, it stood out like a sore thumb. There was a logging trail. I mean, from point A to point B, none of this. So we had it all figured out that night. So we got there that night, got dropped off,
This J.D. or kite left. That's not relevant information at all.
Well, he owns it, just in case something
They do
comes up.
that,
He's
yeah.
just disclosed it, yeah.
Most of Floyd Parnell's place is irrelevant.
Right, yeah. If they didn't put it down, somebody would be questioning it.
Yeah, yes, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, I was in the admin thing, and we were involved in a lot of planning for things like that, not doing the mission, but doing
Well, what was funny with us that night, you had 2 evaluators that were attached to your hip, And they've obviously been through this 7 times. They told me beforehand. This is gonna be
There
a
you
long-
go.
It's gonna be a long night, man. And anyway, we were actually in position to execute before they even had set up for us. We were watching everything.
Yeah.
And he kept telling me, he says, I gotta let Colonel Hunt know what's going on. I said, why you gotta let him know? The objective was to get to point A to point B, and we did.
There you are, yeah.
Well, it didn't go over too good once the man found out, because his idea was to wear you out.
Yeah. I think you should have got a promotion for that.
So you doing all right, Bill? Are you doing okay?
After eating all them bagels this morning.
He said after eating your bagels this morning.
Fortified.
Oats.
Did you have a question on that one?
No.
No, that's good.
You're all done.
Well, if you guys don't have any questions or concerns about any of the things you've seen today besides ones that we've already addressed, that is the only purpose of today's meeting, to review them.
Well, I'd just like to say, you know, I guess this is my last meeting. It's going to be a changing of the guard so much.
Yes.
I understand, are you going to
Yes,
be?
my last
continuing?
meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
We appreciate you guys
But
serving.
it's been an honor to serve the town and to be involved, and
I came back just to get the gold watch.
very good. And he needs to go watch, so.
You have to list that on your financial
He
disclosures.
can't see it to read the time, but. So thank you, Bill. Thank you for your service with us and everything.
You have led us well. I didn't want to do it.
So, and I guess that concludes this meeting at about 10:35.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead and stop this.